What's going on, Vikings fans? Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and welcome to our weekly live show. We're going to be breaking down the latest around your favorite football team. A lot of fun conversations will be discussed today, talking a little J.J. McCarthy, talking some Jalen Nailor, and also showing love to the newest running back, Aaron Jones. All that is coming up on today's show, but spam the chat for me first. If you guys love the Minnesota Vikings, give me a skull down below, and I'll show you guys some love. I already had a bunch of real ones in the chat early. Roger Bong, Z Cool, Borse, or I don't know, in the chat. United Mexican States, Landon Turek. Shout out to you, Landon. Kyle Quick in the chat. Joey Tana, United Mexican States. Harvey Buxton holding it down from overseas. Shout out to you, man. Yeah, Vikings training camp. Sadly, the night practice on Monday did get canceled due to weather, but they are going to have that go next Monday now. But I did see a bunch of Vikings fans. They bought tickets to go travel for that. So it was a little disappointing it got canceled, but hey, still going to hopefully do something next Monday night regarding that. But we got Maya's World in the chat. Roger Bong saying Skull Harvey, William Dunsmore, Jeff Bartlett, David Melton, Tom Lyles. All the real ones are in. But let's kick it to the main question of the offseason here. I want you guys to pick a quarterback one for me. Heading into training camp, I would have probably said there is a 100% chance Sam Darnold is QB1 week 1 versus the New York Giants. But after what we've seen from J.J. McCarthy as of late, he's been tearing it up in training camp. And this quarterback competition has definitely gotten a little more intense. So pick a quarterback for me. Give me an SD for Sam Darnold or J.J. for J.J. McCarthy. Harvey saying has to be SD. Joey saying JJ. I don't know saying JJ. United Mexican States saying JJ hands down. Not even a competition according to him. William Dunsmore going JJ. Maya's going JJ McCarthy. Bear Row Ali saying JJ. Kim saying ST. Give JJ a little more time. Yeah, I am still in the camp that week 1 you still ride out with Sam Darnold. And my best argument for that would be is that you can start with Sam Darnold and then replace JJ a couple weeks after, the next week after, whatever you want. But you can't start with JJ McCarthy and then go straight to Sam Darnold. So that's where I stand. As we do welcome in Reed producing today's show. Everybody give me a skull Reed down below in the comments section. Hopped in here, holding it down for I don't have to self-produce this live. So shout out to Reed. But Reed, who would you pick? Obviously you haven't been too locked in to the Vikings, but what is your gut telling you?
All right. We look at the history. Can you guys hear me?
I think they got you.
Okay. You look at the history.
Right.
What rookie quarterback has started just off rip and has done well?
It's really only Stroud last year. I feel like that's the only one.
I think that has ruined our perception of
100%. I agree with that.
Like if Caleb Williams does it this year, fine.
Yeah.
But it's really rare.
It is very rare. And like you think of like even Joe Burrow when he led the Bengals to the Super Bowl, that was his year 2. Obviously didn't play, too much in year 1, but yeah, I'm with you, Reed. I just think if you start JJ right away, you can't bench him. Like that's your starting quarterback for all 17 games. But, some people think differently. But, yeah, love you guys showing love to Reed in the chat.
You also have JJ for the next, 15 years?
Hopefully, yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure that his start is really good.
100%.
So that he can be your quarterback for the rest of the couple years. Hopefully, that's why you went and drafted him as early as you did.
Yeah, no doubt. No, that's a good point. Like, it's so tough, but I just preach patience with Vikings fans. I understand. I want to see JJ out there week 1. It would be awesome. Like he's just definitely a more entertaining player than Sam Darnold. But we'll get that out in the preseason. And then also if Sam Darnold has a couple bad games, the Vikings would not hesitate to head over to JJ McCarthy. So I love what McCarthy has shown, no doubt about it, but yeah, I would still be in the camp that I would start Sam Darnold week 1. But Kaylee in the chat. Oh, shout out to Kaylee, legend from the season, holding it down. Oliver Jackson going JJ as well. Dave from Duluth going Marshawn trade. We're actually going to talk about that on today's show, so stay tuned for that. But before we dive, no, go for it.
Sorry.
No.
Preseason.
Preseason, yeah.
Preseason's a great way to see can he perform in a regular game?
Exactly.
And if not, then you go with Sam Darnold for the beginning of the season, and then sort of work him in.
100%. Yeah, no, that's a great point there. Like, no rush, Vikings fans. Be patient with this. It's a long process, and also he turned 21 years old just in January. He's got all types of time, so I would still roll out with Sam Darnold, but we'll talk about that a little more in just a second. But before we dive into that, I do want to give a big-time shout-out to today's presenting sponsor, and that is Game Time. If you guys are looking to buy a ticket to any event in the near future, I suggest you guys do so with Game Time. And use promo code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase, and we will $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, and use promo code CHATSPORTS. Now, if you guys are looking to go to a Minnesota Twins game this summer, well, you are in luck, as Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch, and with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. And my favorite feature of the Game Time app is the views from your seat. So you guys can see exactly what you'll be looking at before you buy the ticket to any event. Most other ticket purchasing apps do not do so. So make sure you guys get hooked up with Game Time if you're looking to go to a Twins game, Wild game, Timberwolves game, when those get underway, or even a Minnesota Vikings game this upcoming preseason. Use Game Time and, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, let's kick into this question here. So the bookmakers out west, those smart minds over there in Las Vegas, had the over-under for the Minnesota Vikings at 6.5 wins. You guys let me know. Are you going O for over? Are you going U for under? As this was one of my favorite bets that I made. I took some PTO back in Chicago this past weekend. Again, behind enemy lines, scouting the Bears a little bit. But taking some PTO, I was able to make some bets on my phone, and I absolutely hammered the Vikings over 6.5 wins. Some sports books have it at 7.5, but I think just with this talent on this roster, top to bottom, they should be good enough to get the 7 wins. I understand the division is hard. You have a question mark at the quarterback position, but I think when you're evaluating these teams with a young or unproven quarterback, you know what I actually like to do? I say, look at that team and imagine if a quarterback like Kirk Cousins or Dak Prescott or Tua was manning that offense. How would you feel about that team? Because those are the middle-of-the-pack quarterbacks. And I think if Kirk was still on the Vikings this year, this over-under would probably be set at around 9.5. Probably not 10.5, but either 8.5 or 9.5. So I think it's a good football team in here in Minnesota, but I would go 0 for over on that one. As Roger saying, it could be us. It could be us, Raj. You never know. But, hey, we're also going to have a mailbag coming up here in a little bit. So if you guys want to get your question up on screen, super chatting or using hashtag Vikings is the best way to do so. It helps our software pull it. So any question you got around the Vikings, preseason, training camp, quarterback battle, wide receiver 3 battle, whatever it may be, use hashtag Vikings, get your question in there, and put it in the live chat. But also, if you guys want to support the show, super chatting is a great way to do so. Keeps the lights on here at Chat Sports. You guys have already done a great job this offseason, so we appreciate every super chat we have gotten. But hey, if you guys want to skip the line, super chat, hashtag Vikings, get your question up on screen. But what's coming up on today's show? So we're going to be talking about the Vikings' new weapon, Aaron Jones and Jalen Nailor, as I think they're going to help a huge issue on this Vikings offense. And then also, we'll be talking about J.J. McCarthy, as he has been shredding the Vikings' first-team defense in training camp so far. I understand it is just training camp, but he looks the part. The arm talent looks legit, so we'll be breaking that down. And then also, we will be getting to a mailbag. So again, hashtag Vikings. Shout out to Oliver Jackson in the chat, already getting one in there. But please help us out here. It's a great way. We'll put your question and your face and your username up on screen next to me, and we'll break it all down. But if you guys are ready to go, we just need one more like to get to 25 likes. Once we get there, we can get this thing underway, as we'll be talking about the Vikings' new weapon that they signed this offseason. But we got 60 people in here and 25 likes, so we'll get We'll get underway here in a second, but my man Roger Bong coming in with a $10 super chat. Shout out to you, Roger. You guys know what we do here on Vikings Now. Give me a SKOL Roger down below in the chat. Show him some love for, showing love to the channel. As he says, are we drinking this year? Don't jinx Naylor. Roger, I am all over the Jalen Naylor bandwagon. I'm a big fan of him. Super silky, super fluid route runner. I think he's the perfect wide receiver 3 next to Jefferson, next to Addison. And in terms of, are we drinking this year? TBD, TBD. I don't know if we're going to be drinking as much as we did, or definitely not as much as we did last year, but we'll definitely be having a couple drinks. It's just going to be dialed down a little bit. I want to keep it more, Vikings content, just chopping it up with you guys, focusing on the game. We'll still have fun. We'll still have a bunch of super chat, palooza items for you guys. But the drinking part of it, not too sure. But, I'm always open to make some deals. But, Roger, shout out to you. Everybody give me a SKOL Raj down below. And then my man Z Cool coming in with a $10 super chat. Give me a SKOL Cool down below in the comments. But he says, do you see Lewisine will come back? Do you think he needs more time, or is it a complete Treadwell bust? I don't want to call him a Laquan Treadwell bust just yet, because Lewisine has only played 11 defensive snaps for the Minnesota Vikings. He just really hasn't gotten a chance. Obviously, injuries have been the number one reason why he hasn't lived up to that first-round expectation, but also the Vikings safety room. So 94% of snaps last year, the Vikings ran 3 safeties. But those 3 are going to be Josh Metellus, Cam Bynum, and Harrison Smith. There is no doubt about it. They will be playing 90% of those snaps at least. So I think Lewisine will most likely get cut. I know they like Jay Ward more, and they also like Najee Thompson. The special teams value he brings more than him. So Lewisine is fighting an uphill battle right now, but I honestly don't even know what to think of Lewisine just because he hasn't really played. So yeah, I really don't have too good of an answer for you, Z Cool, but again, always appreciate you, tuning in, sending in a super chat, man. It is awesome. So yeah, we're gonna be diving into a segment right here, breaking down the Vikings' newest weapon and why I do believe he is going to change this Vikings offense. Heading into this year. But shout out to Z Cool, shout out to Roger Bong for getting those questions in there and supporting the show. But hey, let's dive on into it. What's going on, guys? Welcome in the Vikings Now. My name is Patrick Siepman. Now, I do want to talk about on today's show, Aaron Jones, the newest weapon of the Vikings offense. Will he change life in Minnesota this upcoming year? I think he will, and I think this is one of the biggest additions of the offseason so far. And then later on today's show, why Jalen Naylor, who is right now the overwhelming favorite to become wide receiver 3 for this football team, why he will be key for the Vikings this upcoming year. As you guys know, I've been a big fan of Jalen Naylor on this channel for a while. So we'll be talking about the 2 newest weapons of the Minnesota Vikings and how they will impact this offense this upcoming season. But before we dive into that, guys, I am making a promise to you right now. I will post a video every single day here on this channel until the last game of the season and honestly probably the entire offseason. So if you guys want daily videos the entire year all the way up until the last game of the regular season and hopefully a playoff game for our Vikings, hit that subscribe button. Don't miss a thing. I promise you there are a lot of good Vikings YouTube channels out there, but nobody will keep you covered like I do. So hit that subscribe button and lock us in. All right, let's start off today's show talking about Aaron Jones. As I really do believe Aaron Jones has kind of become the most underrated player and offseason acquisition this past season. And, specifically for the Minnesota Vikings, they needed to do something with that run game. And I think as NFL fans, when we see a team with a poor run game, we automatically attribute it to a poor offensive line. But that hasn't been the case with the Vikings over the past couple of years. Their offensive line has actually been really solid, but I think in 2022, Dalvin Cook was a below-average running back, and this past season, Alexander Mattison, he was terrible. I mean, he had 0 touchdowns last season, and he had 9 carries from the goal-to-go situations, and this is definitely a problem. And Kevin O'Connell's already alluded to it about him, putting more emphasis on the running game because in 2022 under O'Connell, they ranked 27th, 97 rushing yards per game. And in 2023, They were 29th in rushing, 91 rush yards per game. If you want to help your rookie quarterback or a guy like Sam Darnold, you give him a running game. It is the biggest safety net you could have. Now, I do want to show you guys Aaron Jones' last 5 games from last season because I think this was an talked about and underappreciated storyline from last year's NFL year. Now, in the divisional round versus the 49ers, he was fantastic. 18 carries, 108 yards. But he tore up the Dallas Cowboys, 21 carries, 118 yards, 3 touchdowns. Even the end of the regular season, 111 yards. Against our own Minnesota Vikings on New Year's Eve, he torched us. 20 carries, 120 yards. Then against the Panthers, 127 yards as well. So in the last 5 games, the least amount of rushing yards he had in either of those contests was 108 yards. And I think it's absolutely hilarious how everybody loves to talk about how great Jordan Love's second half of the season was. Like, I have seen the stat graphic on ESPN, Fox Sports, CBS Sports all the time. But nobody talks about Aaron Jones and what he did in the second half of the year. And yes, Jordan Love was fantastic. I don't want to discredit what he did, but I thought more of the storyline of the Packers offense going from a mediocre team halfway through the season to ending up being one of the better offenses in the NFL was Aaron Jones. He was the key. But again, the quarterback, they get all the conversation. He's getting all the money. But I guarantee you, if Josh Jacobs doesn't live up to what Aaron Jones did in Green Bay last season, we're going to be talking about Jordan Love in a totally different light. And listen, this is a guy, Aaron Jones. I mean, us Vikings fans should be very familiar with him because he has killed the Vikings in past years. I mean, dating back to 2022, 1,100 yards. 2021, just under 800. 2020, he was fantastic, averaging 5.5 yards per carry and going over 1,100 yards. But even more ammunition on Aaron Jones dominating the second half of the season last year. This is one of my favorite stats in terms of evaluating running backs in the NFL because rushing yards over expected helped us Vikings fans see the downfall of Dalvin Cook coming before most other fan bases did. Rushing yards over expected, it sets up as an ESPN next gen or NFL next gen stat where they evaluate how many yards a running back is supposed to get on a certain play, do the blocking, and just how everything sets up. And Aaron Jones had plus 151 yards from Week 16 to the divisional round. That was number 1 in the NFL by a wide margin. Josh Allen, actually, funny enough, quarterback from the Bills, was number 2. But then guys like James Conner, Derrick Henry, and Pacheco following suit at 3, 4, and 5. And also Vikings training camp getting underway over the past couple of weeks. Not a lot of people are talking about this guy, but every report I am hearing is saying he looks the part. He actually had a viral clip, him in the back corner of the end zone. Sam Darnold was rolling out left. Aaron Jones went to the back pylon, dropped into the bucket. He had some toe drag swag, so he was showing off his receiving ability. We already know what he can get done in the run game. I'm just super excited to watch him play. But Aaron Jones actually talked about some people disrespecting him a little bit this past offseason. And this is what he had to say. He said, "I feel like I'm still slept on. I feel like I don't get the respect that some of these other running backs get." I agree with him. But I feel like at the end of my career, when you look up and you look at the stats, I'll be right up there with the best of them. But for now, I'm just going to keep my head down and keep on working. I'll tell you what, that just got me chills right there. I'm already ready to go Week 1 versus the New York Giants in MetLife Stadium. And, I think Aaron Jones is going to fix this run game. I'm not saying the Vikings are going to have a top 10 unit, top 5 unit in the NFL next season, but it will be top 15. You have continuity and some stars on the offensive line. Kevin O'Connell, even though we haven't been able to run the football with him, he can still get it done in that department and scheme up something. And I think Aaron Jones will just be a huge fix. And also, I'll say this. Vikings play the Packers twice this year. I will put any amount of money in my bank account on that he will rush over 100 yards in each of those games. Because what did the Packers do this offseason? They said, "Hey, Aaron Jones, even though you were one of the best players on our team when we were making our playoff run, we're going to go replace you with another running back and pay him more money than we were able to pay you in Josh Jacobs." That chip on his shoulder is massive, and I just can't wait to see him go out and prove everybody wrong. And he's working his ass off this offseason, just getting ready to go. But hey, if you guys are excited to watch Aaron Jones just as much as I am, type his jersey number, type those 3 threes down below in this comment section. Show him some love. He is very active on social media, so maybe he's coming across this video. And if you guys want to show him some support, type those 33s down below. Now, coming up next year on the program, I am going to be explaining to you guys why I think Jalen Nailor, if he is the wide receiver 3 for the Minnesota Vikings, it will be a key position of this offense. That's coming up in just a second. But first off, guys, got to tell you about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Game Time, the #1 ticket purchasing app out there right now. And if you guys use promo code ChatSports, we'll hook you guys up with $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, first purchase only, but promo code ChatSports, and we'll give you guys $20 off. Now, if you guys are looking to go to a Minnesota Twins game this summer, you are in luck, as Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. And with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Now, personally, my favorite feature of the Game Time app is the views from your seat. It just helps you, be able to see what you'll be looking at any event you go to, so you can see if there's a random pole in your way, obstructing your viewing experience. So trust me, download Game Time today. You won't regret it. And if you guys use promo code ChatSports on your first purchase, $20 off for all you Vikings fans. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Now, Jalen Nailor has been dominating Vikings training camp, and he has emerged as the favorite for the wide receiver 3 position this upcoming year. We understand it was going to be a battle between Trent Sherfield, Brandon Powell, and himself to win that wide receiver 3 spot. Well, all the reports we are hearing out of training camp, the coaches are obsessed with him. J.J. McCarthy has raved about him. Local beat reporters have raved about him. He has been looking the part so far. And actually, Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell had this to say on Jalen Nailor, saying Jalen has done everything we've asked of him. And that really has not changed since we drafted him. Things happen that are unfortunate sometimes, and adversity hits guys. And we certainly don't get to have any say in the matter. All Jalen's trying to do is make sure, what am I doing pre-practice? What am I doing post-practice? What am I doing throughout practice to make sure I can handle the workload? We're all very optimistic about Jalen because he's proven what he is as a football player. It's not a question of that. Now, Jalen Nailor, he had huge expectations on him coming into training camp, and he needed to have a big training camp because we know the injury history. We know that bug he has been dealing with throughout his NFL career so far, but he has performed very, very well so far at training camp, and he has really locked himself in as the wide receiver 3 on this roster, and that's why in the ESPN's depth chart they put out, they had Jalen Nailor as wide receiver 3. Now, you also see guys like Tristan Jackson, Lucky Jackson, they had big-time performances in training camp, but it's key that Nailor has been able to beat out Brandon Powell so far and also Trent Sherfield. So I'm just very optimistic that if he, steps into that wide receiver 3 spot, we could be looking at one of the best young trios in the NFL. We'll talk about that here in a second. But Will Regetz of SKOL North did say this, who was at practice on Jalen Nailor, saying the Vikings 7-on-7 period in the low red zone turned into the Nailor show today. In a span of a few minutes, he caught a touchdown pass from each of the Vikings' top 3 quarterbacks. He made a nice lunging grab on a ball from Sam Darnold, snagged a one-handed catch on a Nick Mullins pass that was slightly behind him. And then he leapt up in the back corner of the end zone and got both feet down for a score from J.J. McCarthy. It was a display of the full skill set that Nailor possesses as a quick, fluid, and explosive route runner at 6 foot, 190 pounds. Now, Jalen Nailor and J.J. McCarthy are building a connection. Like every training camp clip I see of J.J. McCarthy spinning the rock, I feel like every single throw has gone to Jalen Nailor. We saw them celebrating a couple times, and I'll tell you what, something that just makes me happy about a Michigan State, Michigan quarterback, like those two getting along and building that connection, it's going to be special for the Vikings. But, more on Nailor, I think this is a massive preseason for him as well. Like if he can really emerge as a true weapon, because I'm assuming Jefferson's not going to play no matter what. I'm assuming Addison's not going to play either. So Nailor's going to have the bulk of responsibility at that wide receiver position. Plus with TJ Hawkinson out, a lot of pressure is on him. Now, I do want to show this real quick, talking about just the wide receivers of the future in general in the NFL. as I think the Vikings, if Naylor, ends up being the guy we expect him to be, and you got him at 25, Jefferson at 25, Addison is still 22 years old, and with Jefferson locked up, Addison still has a couple more years. Hopefully you get Jalen Naylor locked up here shortly. You could be looking at one of the best young wide receiver groups in the NFL. And listen, if Naylor ends up popping, like let's just say he ends up being a Tyler Boyd-esque wide receiver 3, where he is, obviously not top-end talent like Jefferson, top-end talent like Addison. That might not be there. But if he is just a serviceable wide receiver 3 and just a little bit better than KJ Osborne and what he was for the Minnesota Vikings, I'll tell you what, we are looking at the best wide receiver trio in the NFL for the foreseeable future. So I want to show Jalen Naylor some love to close out today's show. Type his jersey number. Type those 83s in the comment section. I'm just super excited to watch this offense play, man. There are weapons all over the board, and Jalen Naylor looks like to be the next, hopefully, really good Vikings wide receiver. So, also, guys, if you guys want to give me a follow on Twitter, that's the handle right there, @PatSieps. If you guys do so, I'll give you guys a follow back. So, hit me up over there for more Vikings training camp clips. We'll see you guys next time. SKOL Vikes. All righty. See those 83s flowing in the comments section. Shout out to Tycoon. Shout out to Rocky. Shout out to Blake. Z Cool in the chat. You said what? Check, so I got you. Yeah, shout out to all of you guys. Appreciate everybody tuning in.
So if you guys got a question, remember we got a mailbag coming up in a little bit. Use hashtag Vikings or Super Chat to skip the line. If you got anything that you want Patrick to add or answer, any burning questions about the season coming up, let us know. Make sure you use that hashtag Vikings. Could be, all uppercase, all lowercase, doesn't matter. Just make sure you have that hashtag Vikings so that our software can pick it up and I can put your question on the screen.
Oh, yeah. That'd be great, everybody. I would really appreciate it. United Mexican States saying hashtag Vikings or Justin is now a father. Is that true? Yes, he is. He is now officially a father. So hopefully he gets some of that dad strength and we can see that carry on to the football field. Joey in the chat saying 83. Scarface in the chat saying 83. Shout out to you. Alrighty. Sorry, just getting some stuff behind the scenes all squared away, but we are all good. Shout out to Boris, or I don't know, getting that question in there. Boris, if you just attach hashtag to the Vikings, can't have a space in between, that would be, it just helps our software pull it a little more. Rojo Fish saying, has Sam Darnold looked okay during camp? Does he do enough this season to get paid somewhere else next season? That's a good question. He's definitely looked good through camp. It's been up and down. I feel like the first couple of days he's looked fantastic, and then it did have that little interception run about midway through, and now recently he's starting to look good again. But for Sam Darnold, it comes down to game day. Throughout his NFL career, he's always been a very, very solid training camp, OTAs, mini camp quarterback, mainly just because he is 6'3", big body, good arm, has the mobility. It's just always going to come down to game day for Sam Darnold. And you always remember that thing about him seeing ghosts. I just feel like that happens, a little too much for Sammy D. But we are about to dive into a segment around J.J. McCarthy specifically, and he has been absolutely dominating training camp. So some training camp takeaways coming up right now. J.J. McCarthy has been absolutely shredding the Vikings defense at training camp so far. So coming up on today's show, we're going to be breaking down everything you need to know about J.J. McCarthy specifically and what he's been doing at Vikings training camp. And then also later on, just want to get you guys the more overall takeaways from training camp is actually some players of the defensive line have been absolutely showing out so far during training camp. So first half of the show, J.J. McCarthy. Second half of today's show, general training camp takeaways from training camp so far. But before we dive into that, guys, I was looking at the analytics here, and we are closing in on 27,000 subscribers here on the channel. We just need 130 more of you guys to hit that sub button. My goal is to hit 28K for Adrian Peterson before the season starts. So let's get the 27K first, then we can get the 28K for the man AD, and I think that would be a pretty cool accomplishment here on the channel. So if you guys could, hit that subscribe button and lock us in. So all the latest reports we have been hearing is that number 9, J.J. McCarthy, the former Michigan quarterback, has been shredding the defense so far in camp. And, he's had some mechanical changes. He's had, some issues with throwing to his left. And it turns out all of those kind of red flags and, I guess, negatives around his game coming out of college have already been sort of masked throughout the NFL so far. But it's actually Will Rigetz of SI, works with SKOL North, had this to say yesterday on J.J. McCarthy, saying J.J. McCarthy had a few quality throws of his own. The best was an impeccable placed ball, that's a great word from Will there, with touch to rookie tight end Trey Knox, who had gotten behind the defense. McCarthy was moving to his left and looked to almost be throwing off of his back foot when he dropped the ball right into the bucket to Knox for a big gain. McCarthy also found Thayer Thomas a few times. That's great to hear, specifically for McCarthy, as, unfortunately, media was not able to be at camp yesterday, and he had a viral clip. I wish it was out there on the Twitter land. I would have showed it for you guys, but media was not there. And listen, the one thing I love about JJ is he had that one really bad day where interceptions were an issue. He was very inaccurate. And then following that day, he has been on a heater of practice. I think that just speaks to his mental fortitude, speaks to his bounce back mentality. And that was the number one thing coming out of college. What was the one thing I loved about him the most? And what had JJ ranked as my second best quarterback in this year's class? Right here between the ears. It's the mindset. It's the mentality that he displays, and that's been on full display so far at Vikings training camp. But he also has made an important change to his stance in the shotgun. So if you guys haven't heard this yet, JJ, when he was in shotgun at Michigan, he had both of his feet lined up equally. But now, with the Vikings system, they have changed him to have his left foot forward in the shotgun. And, if any quarterback wants to talk about this or has talked about this, this is an incredible change. It's just a rhythm thing. But I think this means the Vikings, maybe they could be heading to some pistol offense or maybe adding some read triple option to their game. Kevin O'Connell has kind of hinted at that so far. So that was an important change made from McCarthy so far in his stance in the shotgun. But Alec Lewis also talked about his mechanics and how they've looked. And, Alec has been very tapped in with the Vikings this whole season. He said this. He said his mechanics looked more polished than they did this spring. Throwing left, not a consistent problem. Heaving it deep, McCarthy connected with Tristan Jackson Tuesday afternoon on a 50-yard strike down the field against the first-team defense. And, analysts, when they were evaluating JJ coming out of college, what did they say? He can't throw left. Can't throw it deep. In training camp, that has not been an issue whatsoever. And it's just so funny when I have these experts, I have these draft analysts where they just talk about everything JJ can't do just because of his tape in a couple years at Michigan. If you went back to his high school tape at IMG, he was winning the most pass-heavy offenses in the entire country, winning state championships. He was throwing to his left. He was heaving it deep, no problem then. And my take on this is, just because Michigan didn't ask JJ to throw it around didn't mean he couldn't. And I felt like people, anytime you hear like a elite expert talking about JJ coming out there all saying, oh, well, do you remember against Penn State, he didn't throw the ball a single time in the second half. I understand that. You obviously don't love that for the quarterback you're drafting in the first round, but that didn't mean he couldn't do it. And that's the thing that drove me crazy with these guys evaluating JJ. They just, had such a narrow mindset in evaluating him instead of looking at his whole career dating back to high school and understanding this guy was a 5-star recruit, 6'3" mobile quarterback, can touch every blade of grass on the football field. They didn't see that. They just saw the tape this past year at Michigan. I think he's going to be I think he's going to be proving a lot of people wrong. But Will also said this about JJ, saying this was another day where McCarthy's upside was evident, even in his good plays. Were mixed in with some learning moments. Following that deep ball to Jackson that Alec Lewis alluded to, McCarthy booted out left and showed his athleticism by scrambling for a decent gain when he couldn't find an open target. And I'll say this, I was wrong about the quarterback battle, 100%. I thought there was no doubt Sam Darnold was going to be QB1 versus the New York Giants. I was wrong. I think this is a toss-up as it stands right now. I would still give Sam Darnold the nod. I personally would still start Sam Darnold just because, you can start Sam Darnold and go to JJ. You can't start JJ and then go to Sam Darnold. That would just kill a kid's confidence. But this quarterback battle is heating up, and, I'm just overall just really starting to believe in JJ because, we knew up here he had the right mindset. We knew he had the physical attributes to get it done. But now that we're actually seeing it, and I understand it's just training camp, but we're seeing the flashes. We're seeing that upside where I think his ceiling, for me personally, has gone a lot higher from when the Vikings drafted him in April. But hey, if you guys believe in J.J. McCarthy, I need you guys to flood the comment section on today's video. Type his jersey number, type those 9s. I want this to be the most commented video in Vikings Now history, and us backing our quarterback and backing our potential franchise man in J.J. McCarthy. Type those 9s down below. Now, coming up next on the show, other training camp takeaways as a couple of defensive linemen have been showing out for our Minnesota Vikings. I'll tell you guys about that here in a second. But first off, I want to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is my favorite sponsor. Shout out to Game Time, the best ticket purchasing app out there right now. And if you guys use promo code ChatSports, we'll get you guys $20 off your first purchase. So terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS. And we'll give you guys $20 off your first purchase. Now, if you're looking to go to a Twins game this summer or any Major League Baseball game this summer, you are in luck as Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. And prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. And I love the views from your seat feature because too many times where I bought a ticket to whatever event it may be, and the view I was buying was not the same view I got when I was heading to the stadium, but you can specifically see where you'd be looking at before you even buy their ticket. And plus, if you guys don't want to get drilled with a bunch of fees right before you check out, Game Time shows you the all-in price right away before you're buying the ticket. So check them out, Game Time app, and use promo code ChatSports for $20 off. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Now, some unfortunate but not big news at all. Justin Jefferson, Christian Darrisaw were not at practice yesterday, but they were back at practice today. It was just a rest day for both of them. Darrisaw was actually in the weight room working out, so no big issue there. And Jefferson, they just gave him the day off, which I'm okay with. Jefferson, we know what he's about in the football field. No real need to panic there. But I do want to zero in on a defensive lineman here, and that's Jonah Williams. And I'll kind of give myself a slap on the back here. Kind of not good on me. I've been talking about Jonah Williams enough this offseason, but he looked great at training camp, and he actually beat Blake Brandel with a spin move in one-on-one drills, and then he also had a nice run stop in 11-on-11. Big body, very physical defensive tackle, and, after each of those plays, he let go of like a, let's go to the fans. He plays with energy, he plays with passion, and that stuff is so contagious on that side of the football. And if the Vikings get somebody else to step up in the defensive line room, it would be huge because, I think Harrison Phillips is, and I don't mean this as a disrespect to Harrison Phillips, but he is the most mid defensive tackle in the league. He has just been all right. Then you got guys like Jerry Tillery. He's pretty good. Jonathan Bullard, he's solid. But if they could just get another guy to step up like a Jonah Williams, that could be huge for this defensive line. So remember that name, Jonah Williams, as a guy that could absolutely shock the world and really just turn heads this upcoming season. Now, I do want to also focus in on another wide receiver here, Jayshon Jones. So, Jayshon Jones, UDFA out of Maryland. The Vikings gave him a ton of guaranteed money, more than any other receiver got in the UDFA period. And him and J.J. McCarthy, I was already talking about how J.J. and Jalen Naylor have been establishing connection. Well, actually, Jayshon Jones, another player that the Vikings are kind of keeping their eyes on as a wide receiver that can make the roster. I think, probably the Vikes are going to keep 5 or 6 wide receivers. You got Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, then Jalen Naylor will get there. Brandon Powell will get there. But keep your eyes out on Jayshon Jones. Maybe he dukes it out with Trent Sherfield to get that last wide receiver spot, or even a guy like Tristan Jackson. He's been playing well as well. But let's also focus in here on a tight end who, Nick Muse. Nick Muse has looked good. And I was wrong about Nick Muse. I kind of thought he was a waste of a roster spot this past season. And, he's looking good. Obviously, with TJ Hawkinson being on the PUP list right now, the Vikings need somebody in that room to step up. And so far during training camp, it's been Nick Muse. Now, personally, I wish this was N'Keal Harry. I think it would be awesome. Former first-round wide receiver Harry, if he, his first year transitioning from wide receiver to tight end, if he could pop for the Minnesota Vikings, split him out wide. If he's got a receiver on him, you throw it to the top deck. If he's got a linebacker on him, he should just be too fast for that position. But I think the Vikings overall, with TJ Hawkinson being out for at least the first 6 weeks, they should be fine in that tight end room. You still got Josh Oliver, the best run-blocking tight end in the entire league. So you still got Robert Tonyan. So even though Hawk, unfortunate, he will not be able to play for the first 6 weeks, again, just not really too worried about that. But also just want to say thank you guys so much for watching today's show. And if you guys made it to the end, give me a SKOL down below in the comments section so I know where all the real ones are at and the people that watch this video all the way through. Would really appreciate it. Give me a SKOL down below. Make it look like US Bank Stadium on game day. Now, if you guys want some Vikings training camp clips on your Twitter timeline, I'm actually tweeting them out all offseason long, leading up to the first regular season game. So give me a follow over there. The handle is @PatSieps. If you guys do so, I'll give you guys a follow back. As always, SKOL Vikes. Alrighty. Appreciate it, guys. Everybody tuning in. We did have a super chat roll in from my man Roger Bong, holding it down. Shout out to you, Raj. Frozen State Productions in the chat. Shout out to you as well. But Roger Bong coming in saying, it would be nice to see Sam D ball out, but I am so ready for JJ to JJ. He is killing it. And Roger, I am too. That first JJ, the JJ touchdown is just going to hit so hard. And, I can't wait for it. But again, I'm going to preach patience with Vikings fans. JJ is 21 years old. We have the next, hopefully, like Reed said, hopefully next 15 years of him being the quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. We'll give Sam Darnold his chance. He was the 3rd overall pick for a reason. The talent is there. And again, this is probably a news flash for some people. Sam Darnold is 26 years old. It's not like this is a 30-year-old journeyman quarterback, and he really hasn't had a fair chance in the NFL so far. The Jets were terrible, Panthers were terrible, and he was a backup for the Niners last season. He's not been around the weapons that the Vikings have. He has not been around the coaching staff the Vikings have. So I think just give Sam Darnold a chance, see what he has. And then if he doesn't work out, give J.J. McCarthy the reins, and then we'll see that J.J. touchdown hopefully in the first game that J.J. ends up playing. But we are going to close today's show out with a mailbag. So if you guys got a question, we need more questions in there. If you guys could, hashtag Vikings, put it in the live chat, and I would really, really appreciate it. If you guys send in a super chat talking about the team, we'll throw that up on screen as well. But hashtag Vikings down below in the chat, or if you guys super chat, you guys can get your thoughts up on screen as well. Just like my man Landon Turek did. Also showing love to Kyrie Jackson, the profile pic. That is awesome. So if everybody could, give me a SKOL Landon down below as he says, what kind of a jump do you think Ivan Pace will make in year 2? Great question. We'll include this in the mailbag as well. But I think, we could start off with that. That's a great look from Landon there. Ivan Pace. So the biggest update I have on this offseason is he's going to be wearing the green dot. So he'll be calling the plays defensively. He was actually on the Kay Adams show talking about that. And I think the jump for him would be a Pro Bowl, All-Pro-S season. Like, I think it's so funny. I was actually talking to Tom Downey, our lead draft analyst here at Chat Sports, and I agree with Tom when he said this sentiment. It was just, good football players are really good at football no matter what level. And people thought Ivan Pace, coming off his senior year at Cincinnati when he had 22.5 tackles for loss, he was the best linebacker in college football. Why wasn't he drafted? Because of his height. He's 5'10". He's a super compact linebacker, doesn't have great length, isn't the best in coverage, but he is a tackling machine and one of the best run defense linebackers in the NFL. He's been working out so far. So in terms of a jump, I just think just building off what he did in his rookie year. But I'll give you more thoughts on that here in a second, Landon. But again, got a question you want answered. Hashtag Vikings, as Rocky is saying, Hashtag Vikings is Reed an Eagles fan? Yes, Reed is an Eagles fan. Unfortunately, but as we know, the Eagles have.
Hey, we got no beef.
We have no beef right now. Eagles and Vikings fans we're okay. I'm just still not over the NFC Championship game in 2017. But
hey, I'm an NFL fan though.
NFL fan.
I'm a fan of my job as well. So I've been producing for the Knicks and Giants, and I'm a Eagles and Sixers fan. But as soon as we go live,
SKOL Reed. SKOL Reed's gonna hit like crazy.
I'm a Vikings fan.
Maybe we get Reed for a Vikings game this year. That would be a lot of fun.
I am moving around this year, so you never know. You might get me, and I like to have some fun. So.
Yeah, maybe we get Reed for our mimosa stream when the Vikings take on the New York Jets Week 5 in London. That would be a lot of fun. But yes, he is. So if you guys got a question that you want answered, hashtag Vikings. Get those questions in the live chat right now. Mailbag coming up. Get your name. Get your profile pic up on screen next to me. Hashtag Vikings. And, then we can dive on into it. Rocky giving a SKOL Reed down below. Appreciate you guys showing Reed some love, holding down the live shows today, being super, super helpful. But if, Reed, you're ready to go, let's dive into this mailbag. It's mailbag time here on Vikings Now by Chat Sports, where we answer questions from you guys as a part of our weekly live show. It's honestly my favorite part of the job here at Chat Sports, where it's just me and you guys chopping it up for about 10 to 12 minutes, talking about your Minnesota Vikings. So my name is Patrick Siepman. Welcome in, everybody, and let's kick it to my man, Landon Turek, starting today's show, as he is repping Kyrie Jackson in his profile pic. Shout out to him. Awesome. Honestly, if you guys have Kyrie Jackson as your profile pick, I think that is one of the coolest things you can do to support him. But he says, what kind of a jump do you think Ivan Pace will make in year 2? So Ivan Pace was on the Kay Adams show recently talking about his jump from year 1 to year 2. And he said the biggest change in his game will be wearing the green dot, which means he will be getting the play call in from Brian Flores and he will be directing traffic on that side of the football. But in terms of the biggest jump I think Pace will make, Landon, I think it's just building off what he did last year. Now, I mean, he had a great rookie campaign, like fantastic. But I just think if he can just build off what he did, maybe he gets that Pro Bowl. I don't know if he'll get to an all-pro nod, but I think Ivan Pace, we're going to look back and say that was one of the best UDF pickups in the recent memory in the NFL. So I got super high hopes for Ivan Pace, and also he's wearing number 0 again. So Ivan Pace 0 is what we'll be calling him instead of him rocking 40. I just didn't like the 40 look on him. So he's going back to his college number. So the green dot and changes his number, going to the sky for Ivan Pace this upcoming season. Now, if you guys want the Vikings to beat the Raiders, that game is getting underway on Saturday. This video is probably going out on Saturday morning. So if you guys want the Vikings to beat the Raiders, hit that thumbs up icon. Don't jinx it. You know, fun fact, the Vikings have not won a preseason game since 2019. They are one of the worst preseason teams in recent memory. So I want to get a win against the Raiders. So if you guys want to as well, hit that thumbs up icon. Next question coming in from Z Cool saying, do you see Lewis Cine will come back? Do you think he needs more time, or is he a complete Treadwell-esque bust? Now, I don't think he is a Laquan Treadwell bust, because Laquan Treadwell got opportunity and he just didn't live up to that. And he looked like a first-round bust. But Lewis Cine, he's only played 11 snaps on defense throughout his entire career. And I think it's twofold with Cine. I think number one, the injuries and the compound fracture in his leg, biggest reason he did not have a successful start to his NFL season or NFL career. But also, Harrison Smith, Cam Bynum, Josh Metellus, 3 of the best safeties in the National Football League, playing ahead of him. It's just been tough for him to crack that rotation. So I don't want to call him a complete bust just yet, because I do think, being fair to him, he would need a better chance than that. But yeah, I just don't think he's going to make the roster. It's unfortunate for him, and I could so see it now. Like a team, how about the Baltimore Ravens, who takes every washed-up secondary player and turns them back into, an all-pro caliber player? I could see Lewis Cine doing the same thing over there. But, wish nothing but the best for Cine. It just really hasn't worked out so far in Minnesota. But Roger Bong coming in with another $10 super chat. Shout out to Roger Bong saying, it would be nice to see Sam D ball out, but I am so ready for JJ today. JJ, he is killing it. And I understand this is a hot topic amongst Vikings fans. Who's going to start week 1? And I get it for right reason. But I am still in the camp at you need to start Sam Darnold week 1, because if you start JJ, he's your starter for all 17 games. There is no going back to Sam Darnold. And I think the coaching staff understands that, because you can start Darnold, and even if he has a terrible week 1 and the Vikings lose to the New York Giants, then JJ can just come in there, take the reins, and he is your franchise quarterback, hopefully for the next 15 seasons. But if you start off with JJ and he struggles throughout the first 3 weeks, are you going to go back to Sam Darnold and kill his confidence? I wouldn't do that. So I will preach patience with Vikings fans. I want to see JJ out there more than anybody, but just take your time. He turned 21 years old last January. Even if he sits this entire first season, he will be 22, entering his second year in the NFL. All types of potential there. But Garrett Rustborough, shout out to Garrett in the chat. Haven't seen you in a while. He says, do you think the Vikings can have a top 10 defense? No doubt about it. I think the Vikings defense is extremely, extremely underrated. They were about a middle-of-the-pack defense last year. Following a year under Ed Donatell, they were the worst defense in the entire league. Got smacked by the New York Giants in the playoffs. And a big reason why Daniel Jones got paid was because of Ed Donatell and that terrible defense. But this past season, with not a lot of talent, the Vikings were actually one of the better defenses in the league. And you add, Andrew Van Ginkel, Jonathan Grenard, Blake Cashman, you draft Dallas Turner. Like, the Vikings got some studs on that side of the football. I think it's going to come down to the secondary, though. Who else is going to step up besides Byron Murphy? Will we have Shaq Griffin? Will Caleb Evans take that step? Will Duke Shelley, former Vikings legend, come back and absolutely tear it up like he once did? That'll be a big question mark. But top 10, I would put my money on yes. Chris Foles coming in saying, should the Vikings trade for Marshawn Lattimore? Great question, Chris. Saints are in an interesting spot as they are in cap space hell next season. They actually have they're going to be like $82 million ahead of the cap, so they need to shed salary, and Marshawn Lattimore's got a $31 million cap hit for next season. And Jeremy Fowler actually linked the Vikings to trading for Lattimore, saying they could attach a 5th and a 3rd-round pick and land the all-pro corner. I would do it. I understand the Vikings only have 3 draft picks next season, but if you could land an all-pro corner, and I understand his contracts, it's a doozy, but you got JJ on his rookie deal. Sam Darnold's only on the books for this upcoming season, so I think the Vikings, and here, let me make this point real quick. I think last year's Super Bowl was a great example of 2 different types of teams who can win the championship. You're either like the Kansas City Chiefs, all-pro quarterback, one of the best of all time. You can get to a Super Bowl and win it that way. Or the other way, you have a quarterback on a rookie deal, build a loaded team around him like the San Francisco 49ers, and getting a guy like Marshawn Lattimore definitely helped this case. So I would do it, but maybe you guys disagree with me. Would you trade for Marshawn Lattimore? Give me a T for trade or a P for pass down below in the comments section. Again, if I'm coming across this video, I'll be typing my T's, no doubt about it. But I understand why you would say no, as draft capital is extremely limited for the Vikings. But you guys let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. What say you? Joey Tana saying, what is your all-time top 5 offense for the Vikings? So you saying top 5 players or just a specific year? Yeah, I'm going to take this as all-time players, Joey, which is a great question. Number 1 for me is Adrian Peterson. No doubt about it. AD, he was a player that made me fall in love with the Minnesota Vikings, just the way he ran, the combination of speed, power, elusiveness. Like, I still think he's the best running back I've ever seen in my lifetime. Again, I never got to watch Walter Payton or Barry Sanders, some of those guys, but in terms of running backs I've seen, I'd go Adrian Peterson. Got to throw Randy Moss in there. We all know what he's about. I'm going to throw a curveball at you guys. What about Sidney Rice, 2009, 1,300 yards with Brett Favre? He was awesome that season. I'll throw another curveball at you guys. Right tackle Phil Lodeholt. Big monster, 6'8", 330 pounds. He was awesome, so I'll go him as well. And then if I had to get a 4th one, I want to say Stephon Diggs, but I'm not. I'll go Adam Thielen. I wanted to think of somebody else besides Thielen, but I can't. You said what? Yeah, Randy Moss. Yeah, I'm going to go AP, Randy Moss, Sidney Rice. I'll go Percy Harvin over Phil Oldholt, and then I'll go Adam Thielen. That's what I would do. As I see Z Cool in the live chat saying Kyle Rudolph, that's a tough one as well. Might have to throw in Rudy in that one. But yeah, as you see, the Vikings have a lot of entertaining skill positions over the last couple of years. But Scarface coming in with the next question saying, what do you think about the new NFL rules? Specifically the kickoff rule, I am a huge fan of it. Like, I always kind of felt like over the past couple of years, the kickoff was a situation where, you can run to the bathroom real quick. You're most likely not going to miss anything. But now this year, it is awesome because it's necessarily just a glorified running play where it is you got 10 dudes lined up necessarily on the line of scrimmage. You got a guy back. You got the kicker back. And those 10 guys meet. And it's just, hit the hole and go. And, specifically for the Vikings, I think Kene Nwangwu, I think he is going to cement himself as one of the better return men in the NFL. I think these new kickoff rules really favor him. So I cannot wait to watch that this upcoming year, especially in the preseason, man. That's gonna be awesome. But Big Bob Johnson coming in with the next question saying, if you had to pick one player to break out, who would it be? If I had to pick one player to break out. So I'm thinking position of need here. Young guy. I could go a guy in the secondary like a Caleb Evans, Shaq Griffin, but I'm going to go this. I'm going to go Ed Ingram on this one. Now, Ed Ingram, former third-round pick out of LSU, starting right guard for the Minnesota Vikings. I think if he turns out, and when I mean breakout, like let's just say he's a Pro Bowl, all-pro caliber player, then you're talking about your offensive line for the future of Darrisaw, Ingram pops, Brian O'Neill, hopefully Garrett Bradbury finally lives up to that first-round expectation. Like, then you're thinking about this Vikings offensive line as one of the best young units in the entire National Football League. So if I could turn any player on this Vikings roster into an all-pro player, I would have to go Ed Ingram. Tom Lyles coming in saying, how is the interior D-line improving? It's improving well. Jonah Williams had a big day at camp a couple days ago, so that was great to hear on his front. Harrison Phillips, solid defensive tackle. We know what he's about. But one guy I'm very excited to watch specifically in the preseason is Jerry Tillery, former first-round pick, freak athlete. Like, he's one of those guys where he's walking off the bus and you're like, who is that guy? Like, that guy's got to be an all-pro type of player. So I'm very curious to see Tillery play this year. Guys like Jonah Williams, even like a Levi Drake Rodriguez, or even like a guy like Jacqueline Roy. Like the Vikings interior D-line, it's just asking somebody to kind of take it by the reins and pop out and hopefully be that D tackle of the future once Harrison Phillips, does go a different direction. Next question coming in from Average Vikings Fans, College Football 25. Great game. Probably going to play that after work, actually with my man Reed on here. But he says, what are the toughest positions to deal with injuries? In terms of impact on the football team, obviously quarterback, but besides quarterback, I think it depends. Like, obviously for the Vikings specifically, honestly, I think losing Justin Jefferson would hurt more than any other player, even more than the quarterback this upcoming season. I think Christian Darrisaw, like left tackle, receiver, quarterback, like those three positions specifically for the Vikings would really hurt. But yeah, I'd probably have to go either of those three. But hey, if you guys made it to the end of today's show, it's real one roll call time here on the channel. If you guys watch this entire thing, shout out to you. I really appreciate it. But give me a SKOL down in the comment section so I know where all the real ones are at. And I just can't wait, man. I cannot wait until the preseason gets underway. It's going to be a ton of fun. We're also going to be live on the channel for a watch party, so make sure you guys tune in for that. And also, if you guys want to give me a follow on Twitter, that's the handle right there, @PatSieps. Give me a follow over there, and I'll give you guys a follow back. But thank you so much for watching today's show. Preseason getting underway soon, so can't wait for that. See you guys next time. SKOL Vikes. All righty. Shout out to all you guys. Oh, yeah, SKOL Nation.
So it's hard.
Oh,
we have the time limit because we're doing the cut for a video that's going to go out on the channel. So we can't fit every question in.
Yeah.
But if you really want your question answered, we got it.
Yeah, I think SKOL Nation was saying, what do you think about going live on TikTok? And what do you think about our secondary? Probably won't be going live on TikTok Also love your profile pick as well, SKOL Nation. But what do you think of our secondary? Safety group's great. Quarterback group, somebody's got to step up. It's kind of short thought on that. As Roger saying, when are you going on your run? Hopefully this weekend, Raj. Hopefully this weekend. Going to try to knock that out before the preseason game on Saturday. So then we can come on and have a lot of fun with you guys. But we are going to sign off here. Just want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in. Live shows have been awesome as of lately. And, yeah, make sure you guys stay in the loop, turn on those noties, and subscribe to the channel. And we will see you guys later. Thank you guys so much. Shout out to Roger, SKOL Nation, Blake, Joey, Landon, all of you guys in the chat. Love chopping it up with you guys every single week. Just a family atmosphere here, and that's the part I love the most. So we'll see you guys next time. As always, SKOL Vikes. Do it. Are we back, ladies and gentlemen? I think we're back. Okay. Z Cool just blessed us on the way out. Z Cool, we'll talk about that here for a little bit. My bad, Z Cool. I didn't know it was coming in. He's saying LMAO. Again, yes, this has happened before to Z Cool, but here we go. We got it up on screen. Shout out to you. Saying, does the line need to be spaced or can you stack the line on one side? Are you talking offensive line here, Z Cool? Or I'm assuming you're talking offensive line. Oh, for kickoffs. Does the line need to be spaced or can you stack? I think it needs to be. Yeah, I think it has to be spaced. I could imagine you can't just line all 10 guys on the left side and then just run strictly over there.
Especially now because you have to announce when you're doing a onside kick.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
I would assume.
Yeah, I would assume so, Z Cool, but I can't wait to watch it in the preseason with you guys. It's going to be our first real taste of it. And just watching Kane Wong will make one move, hit the hole, get north and south, and hopefully take a couple to the house. But Z Cool, sorry about that. We were about to log off, so shout out to you. But we do need to, unfortunately, get on out of here, guys. So, again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Z Cool, all of you guys. As Roger Bong's keeping us live. All right, man. Shout out to Roger Bong, man, coming in. SKOL Roger, as Brady Kick in the chat as well. Brady, nice profile pic, man. Nice profile pic. Give me a SKOL Roger down below. Brady, that is classic. That is classic. Howdy. Yeah, howdy to you, Brady Kick. Yeah, Roger's Bong saying, for the love of SKOL. Roger, are you guys excited for week 1 of the preseason? This Saturday will be live, probably an hour before kickoff. Alan D saying SKOL Pat and the crew. Shout out to you, SKOL, as well. Brady, I just got here. We ain't ending this. Yeah, I got you. I got you. It's, the super chatters are keeping us live, but Roger, do appreciate you, man. Cannot wait to get it going this weekend, Saturday, man. Our first real taste of Vikings football. It is going to be awesome. But Landon Turek saying thanks for the show. Thank you. Thank you so much, Landon. Always showing love as Roger's just getting careless today, man. Roger's keeping us live as Alan D also is SKOL. Don't you know? I like that. I like that. Shout out to Roger Bong, though, saying let's go. Roger, Roger, DM me on Twitter after this. We got to figure something out, man. We got to figure something out because I'm going to work on something where I could get a custom picture next to your guys' name. So instead of the YouTube logo right here, I could have where it says something like SKOL Bong or SKOL Roger or something like that. That's what I'm going to work on actually right when I get out of here today. So hopefully I'll be able to cook up something pretty cool, but I want to kind of have club memberships for you guys. So guys like Roger Bong support the show more than anybody. I can have something specific for you to show you love instead of just doing the generic thing for everybody. Z Cool. Yeah, good example. See how this pops up? I'm going to try to get something where it says SKOL Bong and it pops at you, or maybe some confetti, or SKOL Cool, or whatever it may be on there. So we're going to try to get something like that going. That's what I'm going to work on when we get on out of here. So a little behind the scenes. I guess, you guys keeping us live. You guys got that insight. So, yeah, but Roger, I do need to get on out of here. So I appreciate you guys so much. United Mexican States, I got you. You know that. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. But, yeah, now, hopefully, we'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You guys are the freaking best. Seriously, do appreciate you guys, though. All the support goes a long way here at Chat Sports. So, Roger, peace out to you. Z Cool, United Mexican States, Joey, all of you guys. Seriously, thank you guys so much. Skol Vikes.